Hello everyone, this is me Abdullah Al-Noman, and in this video we are going to talk about these resources, this res folder and the resources that are inside it. I'm going to show you how to create resources. I'm also going to show you how to access resources that you have created in the past. While for example you are creating an Android application and you already defined some resources in the past, then I will show you exactly how to access those resources that you defined previously. Alright, so that's something we are going to talk about. And before I do that, I want to explain what are resources, and I also want to explain why we keep the resources in the res folder and why we keep the similar kind of resources in a single folder. For example, we keep all of our resources inside this res folder. So these are the resources, and the same kind of resources are always put inside one single folder. For example, all the layouts are put inside this folder. Every layout is the same kind of resource, right? And all of them are put inside here. All the images are put inside this drawable folder. Then all the color codes are put inside one single folder. All the strings are put inside one single folder. All the styles, which are a different kind of resource, are put inside one single folder. So I'm going to explain exactly what are resources, and I'm going to explain why do we keep the same kind of resource in different folders. Why do we keep the same kind of resource in one single folder, not different folders, single folder? And why do we keep separate kind of resources in separate folders? So that's what we are going to learn in this video. So let's just do that. The first thing is, what are resources? Well, resources are this. You see, when you are developing Android application, you don't only work with Java coding only, right? You don't only work with this file here. In your application, there will be a lot more than Java coding. There will be lots of images, there can be lots of animations, there can be different kinds of designs, there can be different kinds of strings, and these strings, by the way, they are not exactly Java coding. You know, even though there are string is a part of Java, but the text that you have, they are not exactly coding, so they can be considered as resources also. The distances that you use while designing your Android application, for example, the distance that is here to here, the distance of this thing from here to here, then the distance between these two, all of these distance, they are called dimensions. These are also a certain kind of resources. Then for example, when you are using styles, different kinds of styles that are predefined, and there are styles that are not predefined that you create. For example, this is a predefined style here. This is something that the developers of Android Studio, they created, and then you can just use it, or you can create your own styles while designing your Android application. So all of these things that I have been talking about, all of animations, all of images, all the videos, all the layouts, all the map values, all the colors, all the dimensions, all the strings, all the styles, and many other things that you use inside your Android application, they are not exactly coding, they are resources. So all of the resources are put inside one single folder, and inside that single folder there are subfolders. For example, there is this, all the drawables are here, all the layouts are here, etc, etc, etc. Now I want to explain why we keep the same kind of resource in one single folder. Well, the number one reason is very obvious, which is it is easy to organize the information. For example, if we keep all the images in one single folder, it is easy to organize it. It is easy to keep track of all the images that we have in our Android application. And then if we keep all the strings, which are these, for example, in one single folder, then it is very easy to track all of them, right? Then when you are using layouts, for example, you are using a basic layout, now not an empty layout. For example, you are using a basic layout. Now inside that basic layout, what's going on is this: you have one layout, and inside that you include another layout. Now if your all of your layouts are spread out in different folders, then it will become difficult to keep track of all of them. But if they are put side by side and you can have all of them in here like a list, then it becomes really easy to handle them. So organizing your resources is the number one reason why we keep our resources in separate folders, and we keep the similar kind of resources, same kind of resources in one single folder. Now there is this another reason why we keep our resources, same kind of resources, in the similar folder. For example, which is this. The other reason is this. For example, when you are using strings and you have created, for example, your Android application in a certain language. For example, every text that is there inside your Android application is written in English. Now, for example, after a few months, you wanted to change it to a different language, and you don't know that language. All right. Now, how do you do that? You just take a translator, not a programmer. You don't need a programmer. You just ask someone who knows English and who knows that certain language, for example Chinese. So you just bring someone with that language, and then what you can do is this. You can come here inside these resources and you can actually translate here using translation options here, and then you can just simply change the whole application into a Chinese version. And you don't exactly need a new programmer to do that. You just need a translator. You need someone who can translate the language for you. Or maybe you are, another thing is this: when you are trying to translate your Android application, if all of these strings were not in the same folder, then what would happen is this. When you want to change these strings, you would have to go through your code programming line by line, and you would have to find all of your string resources and then change it. Now consider that your Android application has maybe 2000 lines, 5000 lines of code inside your Android application. Now if that is happening, then don't you think that it will take a lot of time to find all of these resources, and it will take a lot of energy? But what you can do simply, if you have all of your strings in one folder, what you can do simply is this. You can come to your resources folder, and then you can just change the strings from one single folder here. And let's say you had hundreds of strings inside your Android application. Still that's not a problem, because here you can simply change it from one single folder and everything will be changed. And the same goes for colors as well. If you have a lot of colors here, for example a lot of different colors, then what would happen is this. You could just come here and you could change the color from here and everything would change. So this keeping the resources in the same folder gives you a lot of advantages. That's what I'm trying to convince you.